The violet dusk did not fall gently that day. It shattered. You looked up from the dusty settlement streets. The sky trembled with a light that should not exist. It was a bruise of purple and unnatural gold. Clouds parted like terrified sheep. You felt the vibration in your teeth before you heard it. It was a low hum. It sounded like the planet itself was groaning. The sand around your boots began to dance. The first ship broke through the atmosphere. It did not fly. It fell with purpose. The hull was darker than the void between stars. It absorbed the fading sunlight. You watched the horizon swallow the shape. The impact did not shake the ground. It shook the air. A silence followed that was heavy and thick. It felt like the world was holding its breath. Everyone in the outpost froze. Tools dropped from hands. Eyes widened in collective fear. Then came the engines. A sound rolled over the dunes like a physical wave. It was not a roar. It was a deep frequency that rattled your rib cage. You grabbed the nearest railing to steady yourself. The old metal was hot under your grip. Dust plumes rose miles high in the distance. They looked like storm fronts made of grit. The settlement alarms finally screamed to life, but they sounded weak against that alien thrum. You knew this was it. The waiting was over. You ran toward the command center. The air tasted of ozone and dry panic. People scrambled for cover in the bunkers, but you stayed above ground. You had to see. More ships pierced the cloud layer. They descended in a perfect line. It was a display of power. It was a statement. They were not here to explore. They were here to take. Or perhaps they were here to trade. You hoped for the latter, but your gut told you otherwise. A leading ship hovered just outside the perimeter. It was massive. It blocked out the twin moons. Shadow fell over the entire outpost. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in a second. You shivered, despite the heat of the day. Floodlights from the settlement turned on. They were pathetic beams against that dark hull. Then the ship spoke. It was not a voice. It was a chorus of metallic tones. It sang over the outpost. The sound vibrated against the glass of the watchtower. You covered your ears. It was beautiful and terrible. The tone demanded attention. It demanded surrender. The commander stood next to you. His face was pale. He gripped the console with white knuckles. He tried to speak into the comms. His voice cracked like dry wood. He cleared his throat. He tried again. He asked them what they wanted. There was no aggression in his tone, only fear and a spark of curiosity. You saw it in his eyes. He was terrified, but he also wanted to know. We all did. Who builds ships that sing? Who crosses the dark ocean of stars to visit us? The singing stopped abruptly. Silence rushed back in. It was louder than the noise. A platform descended from the dark ship. It floated down on a beam of gravity. A figure stood on it. It was tall and draped in shimmering fabric. The fabric moved like it was alive. You squinted to see better. The figure held something. It was a small device. It pulsed with a soft rhythm. The platform landed softly on the sand. The commander walked out to meet them. You watched from the safety of the heavy glass. The alien did not speak. It held out the device. The object hummed with star-born power. You could feel the energy from here. It made the hair on your arms stand up. The commander reached out. He hesitated. Then he took it. The alien gestured to the sky. Then it pointed to the commander. The message was clear. This was a trade. They offered the device. It could read thoughts. It could bridge minds. Imagine knowing what your enemy plans before they move. Imagine understanding your neighbor perfectly. No more lies. No more secrets. It was a gift of gods. But gifts have prices. The alien pointed to a chronometer on the commander's wrist. It was an old thing, mechanical and ticking. The alien did not want the watch. It wanted the time. It wanted a life, not to kill, but to take the days. They wanted centuries. They wanted to harvest our time. The commander stepped back. The deal hung in the air. We get the mind reader. They get a lifespan. One human life, counted in hundreds of years. It seemed impossible. We do not live that long. But they had ways to take it. They could extract the potential. The future days you had not lived yet. The council met an hour later. They gathered around the crystal table. It was the pride of the settlement. The light from the alien ship outside filtered in. It turned the room into a strange aquarium. The elders looked tired. Their faces were lined with worry. You stood in the corner. You were just a guard, but you listened. One elder slammed his hand on the table. He said it was madness. We cannot trade a soul. Another argued back. She said the device could save millions. If we understand our enemies, war ends. Is one life not worth peace? The debate raged. Voices rose and fell. The air in the room grew hot. The crystal table seemed to amplify their anger. You watched them fight. It was the same old story. Fear versus greed. Safety versus morality. The alien device sat in the center. It pulsed blue. It seemed to be listening. Maybe it was already working. Maybe it knew we were weak. The commander rubbed his temples. He looked older than he did this morning. He'd asked for a volunteer. The room went quiet. Who would give up their future? Who would trade their tomorrows? The silence stretched. You looked at your boots. You thought about your family. You thought about the girl at the water station. Then the door opened. A young man stepped in. His name was Kale. He was just a technician. He was young. He had so much time left. That made him the perfect currency. His heart must have been racing. It must have beat like a hummingbird wing. But his face was calm. He walked to the table. He looked at the elders. He said he would do it. The room erupted in whispers. Why him? He was nobody. But he was brave. Or maybe he was foolish. The line between the two is thin. You watched him closely. He touched the alien device. The alloy pressed against his skin. It reacted instantly. Bright light filled the room. Memories flashed in sudden bursts. You saw them too. We all did. The device projected them. We saw Kale's childhood. We saw him running in the fields. We saw his first kiss. We saw his fears. It was intrusive. It was raw. But it was proof. The thing worked. The light shifted. It changed from memories to something else. The device was not just a reader. It was a key. It showed a map. A complex diagram etched in light. It was a map of our planet, but it showed things we did not know. Deep underground, near the core, there was a vault. The elders gasped. We had lived here for generations. We thought we knew this rock, but we were wrong. The map pointed to a hidden chamber. It held something ancient. The device was guiding us. The aliens did not just want time. They wanted us to open something. They could not touch it. Only we could. The revelations settled over the room. We were not just customers. We were tools. They needed human hands. They needed a human soul to unlock the vault. That was why they came. That was why they sang. The commander looked at the map. He looked at Kale. The price had just gone up. A plan formed quickly. We had to get to the vault first. We had to see what was inside. If it was a weapon, we could not let them have it. If it was a treasure, it was ours. You were chosen for the team. You knew the tunnels better than anyone. Kale came too. He was the key now. We slipped out under the cover of darkness. The alien ships hovered above. Their lights swept the ground. We moved like shadows. You led the way. The entrance to the tunnels was hidden in the canyon. We moved fast. Our boots made no sound on the rock. The air underground was stale. It smelled of old earth and secrets. We went deeper. The map from the device glowed in Kale's mind. He led us when the path split. We evaded sentry drones. The aliens had sent them down. They were small silver spheres. They sang in static. We pressed against the cold walls. A drone floated past. It scanned the area with a red beam. You held your breath. Your lungs burned. The drone paused. It spun around. Then it moved on. You let out a breath. That was too close. We marched for hours. The tunnels grew wider. The walls changed from rough stone to smooth metal. This was not natural. Someone built this, eons ago. Our steps echoed like a drumbeat. We were intruders here. You checked your weapon. It felt heavy. It felt useless against ancient tech. Then we saw it, the Guardian. It stood before a massive door. It was a construct. It was made of starlight and iron. It rose from the floor as we approached. It did not have a face, but it had a presence. It radiated power. It blocked the way. The commander stepped forward. He raised his hands. The Guardian did not attack. It waited. A voice filled our heads. It was not like the aliens. It was old. It sounded like the earth speaking. It demanded proof of worth. It asked why we were here. We could not fight it. You knew that instantly. It would crush us. We had to talk. The commander spoke. He told a tale of hope. He spoke of our struggle. He spoke of the settlement. He spoke of the children born in the dust. He whispered louder than fear. He offered our story as payment. The Guardian listened. The light in its frame pulsed. It seemed to consider the words. Truth has a resonance. Even machines can feel it. The Guardian stepped aside. The massive doors groaned. They slid open. Dust fell from the ceiling. A golden light spilled out. We covered our eyes. Inside the vault was a vortex. It was a swirling mass of energy. It looked like a captured star. This was the source. This was what the aliens wanted. It was pure potential. It was time itself given form. The commander looked at the vortex. He looked at Kale. The aliens want a life, the commander said. But not yours, Kale. The commander took off his coat. He stepped toward the vortex. His eyes were bright as sunrise. He was going to do it. He was going to pay the price. He handed his chronometer to you. Count my days, he said. Make them count. He stepped into the light. The energy surged. It spiraled outward. It wrapped around him. It was beautiful and sad. You watched him age in seconds. His hair turned white. His skin wrinkled. He gave his time to the machine. He gave his centuries to the lock. The vortex flared. A beam of light shot up. It went through the rock. It went through the crust. It hit the alien ship in the sky. The connection was made. The transfer was complete. A silent promise floated in the charged air. The commander fell to his knees. He was old now, very old, but he was smiling. We ran to him. He was weak, but the vault was open. In the center lay a core. It was the heart of the machine. It glowed with a warm rhythm. Kale picked it up. It was light. It hummed in his hands. We had the prize. The aliens got their time, but we got the power. We had to leave. The tunnels were shaking. The energy release destabilized the cavern. We carried the commander. We carried the core. We ran back the way we came. The return was a blur. Rocks fell around us. Dust choked the air. You did not look back. We emerged into the night. The team bore the glowing core. Your faces were lit by triumph. The settlement cheered. They saw us coming. They saw the light. But the cheering died down. They saw the commander. They saw what it cost. A quiet dread lingered. The alien ships began to move. They had what they came for. They harvested the time energy. They did not care about the core. They only wanted the fuel. The lead ship ascended. It pierced the clouds again. Then they vanished. They jumped to light speed. They left a scarred horizon. The sky was empty. The violet light was gone. The stars looked normal again. But everything had changed. You looked at the core. It was safe. We had saved it. But the questions remained. Who built the vault? Why was it here? And were the aliens truly gone? Survivors whispered that time felt altered. The days seemed shorter. Or maybe we just valued them more. You felt it too. Every second felt heavy. Every minute felt precious. The commander recovered slowly, but he never regained his youth. He was a living monument to the cost. Generations grew up in the settlement. They heard the song of the vanished emissary. They heard about the trade. They sang about the commander. His sacrifice echoed through the halls. It became a legend. Statues rose in the square. Each one bore an etched chronometer. It reminded us to watch the time. The core powered the settlement. We had light. We had heat. We had protection. The device from the aliens sat in the museum. It was silent now, but we studied it. We learned from it. We learned to shield our thoughts. We learned to value our minds. But peace is fragile. It is a pause between storms. Dark clouds gathered years later. The sensors picked up a signal. It was not the silver ships. It was something else. An ancient enemy. The one the vault was built to hide from. They stirred awake. They smelled the open door. The settlement braced. We were stronger now. We had the core. We had the legacy. You were old now. You stood on the wall. You watched the sky. You remembered the violet dusk. You remembered the humming ships. You touched the chronometer in your pocket. We remembered the price of our choice. We knew what we had to do. We would not trade this time. We would fight. The enemy descended. They were shadows and malice, but we were ready. We had the light of the vault. With united hearts, humanity forged ahead. We carried the alien spark inside. The core hummed with us. The stars beckoned above. They promised horizons where days were ours to claim. We would not let anyone steal them again, not a single one. You looked at the young guards. They looked back at you. They were ready. You smiled. Let them come, you whispered. The sky lit up. A battle began. But this time, the clock was yours, and you would make every second count. The new dawn was coming, and it would be bright.